Mwahaha! 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 Ah, I just thought of a really funny pun.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not terrified.
What's up, YouTube? This is Arl Yoshi as usual. I am Max, and you are?
Rhino.
I'm Jero.
And I'm Sans.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the one and only Sans to join our D&D game. Everybody give him a hand.
I see no Dungeons or Dragons. I feel ripped off.
That's because this is a different kind of D&D. We're actually playing Dentists and Darmanitans.
But yes, I'm Tim. Hello.
Jim just stares at presumably me. Okay, so anyway, we're playing Courage's Magic, which is MLP D&D. So I am, of course, the DM, which, as we all know, stands for Dungeon Master. And these three are our players. So, everybody roll a d20, and that'll determine the order in which you introduce yourself.
Also, wait a second. I just noticed.
Okay, I got my roll.
Got mine.
I because I'm noticing that the link that you sent only shows one character.
Oh, down at the bottom, you have tabs that say Rhino, Tim, and Jero. You click on them.
I didn't even see that. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also,
now I mean, I was like, what the fuck? I'm not Rhino.
no. Actually, Jero, everybody is Rhino. Everybody's Rhino.
You are the one.
Okay, so yeah, get the D&D dice roll up. They're using D&D dice roll. I'm using actual D&D dice. I've got D4 D6s. Got D4 D. I've got the dice I need.
Okay, I rolled.
All right, Tim, what did you roll?
16.
Rhino.
10.
Jero.
7.
Yeah,
All right, so that's the order we're going in. All right, so Tim, go ahead and tell us about your character first.
Okay, so I did write out this huge thing.
800 words.
I've been sick for the past several days. That's why this was delayed. So I'm just going to be paraphrasing it.
All right.
Okay, so my character is a Minotaur named Alistair Broadhoof, and he is from the city capital of Tauros, which is a parody of the Greek city Argos. This city is very military-focused, and like most Minotaurs, he was born not knowing his parents. He was immediately taken by the military and was raised for the sake of combat. Eventually, when he was officially drafted into the military, he met a French Minotaur who had been an immigrant who was named Bastille. And when they joined the army, eventually they were sent off to war against the Griffin Kingdom. And at the battle site, things were going well. It was basically an even fight between the Griffins and the Minotaurs. But then they were ambushed by a fleet of Diamond Dogs who had allied themselves with the Griffins, which made it very difficult for the Minotaurs to fight back, since the Griffins could still fly, while the Minotaurs were still on the ground and had to deal with all these chasms forming around them. Alistair was able to jump away, but Bastille was caught off guard and was basically killed. Alistair wanted to fight to protect him, but his commanding officers forced him to retreat with the rest of them. This caused Alistair to go into a crazy rage against his officers, and he basically attacked them and was named a traitor for attacking his fellow soldiers. He was then imprisoned for several years. He made attempts to escape, but obviously that didn't go so well. And after about 5 years, he thought he would never be released, but his city had been given contact from one Emperor Conflagration, Max's character, and said he would offer the city of Tauros his I don't know what you would call it, alliance or whatever, and basically he would offer them resources and such, but they would need to send someone for him to perform a service, and they thought it was very fishy because it didn't have very many details or anything about it, and they didn't want to send anyone from their army because they had been losing soldiers ever since they lost the war a few years ago. So they figured, oh, we have this guy locked up. We don't care if he dies or not, so we're just going to send him for fodder in case this isn't quite what it says it is. So if Alistair was to complete the mission, he would be set free, but if he were found to escape or to go against the mission, he would be hunted down and executed. So they released him, and they gave him these unbreakable cuffs on his ankles and wrists, and they have a tracking spell on him so they can detect him, and now he sets off to meet the Emperor and to see if he can get his life back, basically.
So Alistair is in cuffs this whole time?
Yes. He's in cuffs the whole time.
I'm trying to imagine this right now.
Oh wait.
Are the entirety of the cuffs unbreakable, or is it like only the stuff around his wrist, and thus the chain can be snapped?
'Cause it's like
They're made of an unbreakable material.
Because it's like we're gonna be to get in like a battle with like some sort of golem or something, and Rhino's gonna be like attack. Joe's like attack, and then Tim's just like waddle.
They're not like keeping his hands tied. They're just on his wrist.
Oh, I thought you meant like they were. I thought you meant they were attached.
No.
It's because I know where he's going with this because
The
he
character,
basically
character-
can I say the inspiration of this character because I might know what it is.
yeah, you can take a guess.
He's pretty much based off of Alistair from League of Legends.
Basically,
Well, it's also
yes.
a Minotaur.
Yes.
Fair enough. Also, just so people know, the whole Emperor conflagration thing, I told everybody that they had to incorporate one Emperor conflagration to their backstory. Did not tell them anything about who that is, just because I wanted to see how the conflicts were.
I wonder how wrong
And also, no one told me this, Rhino.
What do you mean? He told you.
No, he didn't tell me anything.
Yeah, I did. I told you to include Emperor conflagration into your backstory.
No, I did not see any of that in the messages.
Okay, so Jero fucked up already.
Jiro, quick,
Fuck you.
just force him in somewhere while I do mine.
Do. Just keep this in mind for when you create your character. Make a backstory as well for them. Said backstory can be long or short, but some details might affect events or options you have. Just also make sure to include how your character came to know one Emperor conflagration, because that's what kicks off the campaign. Your response was okay then.
Oh.
I just looked that up. For some reason, the whole conflagration thing was not in there.
Well, okay, you're gonna have to include him in the last minute. Hey, you have time because Rhino's about to read his character off now.
Yep.
So go ahead, Rhino.
I am a dragon named Arkvirno Thalmscale. I knew there was going to be actions. I just paused there.
That's a big one.
And Gerald's character is named Bob.
No.
Alright, so my backstory for him was that he was an egg in his parents' horde, and then when his parents were killed by roaming knights for a certain emperor, the horde and the egg, which looked jeweled because of its coloring, were all taken and brought back to the treasury, where they were all dumped in this gigantic room to essentially be a different kind of horde. Over the years, various things were all tossed into the treasury, namely more money, more jewels, occasional magical artifacts, things like that. One day, a particularly good pile of magical artifacts was dumped in there, close enough to the egg that actually caused it to hatch. No one noticed this for a while, until they went in a couple weeks later and found that a significant chunk of the treasury was missing. Because I ate it.
Wow.
Naturally, the guards were kind of...
Let Joe say something.
Significant. I'm sorry. I'm kind of curious.
I was a dragon with nothing to do but eat all this tasty shit I was near.
So let's say, okay, how much of a percentage did
Yeah, like that. That's what I was going for.
The jewel percentage.
Wow, Rhino's a badass.
Rhino's doing the jewel percentage speed run. Got it.
Okay.
Look, he could keep all the gold. I didn't care about that. Anyway, so naturally the guards come in. They're like, and so they try and zap me into oblivion, and all it really does is knock
Instead,
me
they
over.
sent you to Skyrim.
No, instead, all it really does is knock me over, and they're like, "What the hell?" And then the royal court wizard came through, and he's like, "What the hell's going on in here?" He looked at me. They tell him what happened, and he's like, "Oh, well, that's interesting." And so I was essentially put in a tiny cage, brought before the emperor, and they were like, "So yeah, this thing got in there and ate your stuff and is resistant to magic." Emperor Conflagration pretty much looked at me and said, Well, he already ate the stuff. I'm paraphrasing all this, by the way. I'm not doing an epic narrative. Pretty much, it was decided that since I was partially magic resistant, and I mean, if the king could, he would like to have a dragon on his side. It was decided that I would not be punished for eating what I did, because I would have eaten it anyway from one source or another, and instead I was to sort of be the court dragon. I was actually taught to relay messages to him with my dragon fire, and yeah, that's pretty much where I am. It's actually tied into one of my merits here, is mystical messenger.
Yeah, you could.
It's time.
Rhino for my character creation, so I put one of my merits into my story too, with the whole being able to jump really far thing.
There's also you also have saw it coming, which they didn't.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, now Jero, go ahead and end it off with your character, Bob.
Shut up. Okay. As for me, my character is a bat pony by the name of Umbra Nightingale. He was. Thanks. He was born about a few. He was already a grown stallion by the time of Princess Luna's return, and he had been part of the. And when he was born, he was born into the Night Guard, and considering Celestia was in charge, then there were more of the stick to the shadows, but he was different. He actually had the ability to be able to actually manipulate and control shadows.
Ooh.
And with that ability, he slowly rose up to the ranks, and once Luna came back into power and the Lunar Guard became more of a prominent figure in the Equestrian military
Instead of ninjas.
He essentially rose up to the rank of, well, not so much as the general in charge of the Night Guard, but one of the captains, like in charge of special operations. Then soon enough, he came into he learned from his general a treaty signed by a certain emperor. And considering how the Equestrian Society was wary about this treaty, considering they didn't know the details of it, they decided to be able to be, well, not only his chance to be able to be not able to only be his first chance to be able to show the worth of the Night Guard outside of Equestria, but to also be able to show people that, one, the bad ponies are not the enemies of the world, but the protectors, especially after the whole business that happened with Nightmare Moon, and two, to be able to explore the world and be able to help out those who need it. So his general assigned him to act as essentially almost as a vanguard and diplomat to Equestria, but also be able to do whatever mission they needed to be able to prove his worth.
Okay. I will say, when I gave you guys no details, I was expecting something like one of your characters was arrested by the Emperor, one of your characters befriended him, and one of your characters killed him. That's what I was expecting here.
Well, Jero and I seem to have a very similar reason for going.
Yeah. So
I'm just kind of here.
It all actually meshes
As
together
always.
nicely. Alright, so now that we know who all your characters are, while you were talking, I made sure to have your character sheets be the ones that are on screen in full view, so people were able to read through and see all your attributes and whatnot.
We probably need to read out what our mirrors do and stuff.
Yeah, let's we'll go through that real quick. We'll go through in the same order that we did the backstory, but this will not necessarily be like movement order, obviously. So, Tim, read out what your different merits do, racials included, please.
Those are in two very different spots on the menu. If you want to look at one, Tim, I can read up your racials.
Yeah, Rhino can take care of racials for everybody or something, and then you can take care of your...
Remind me, is Airheaded the one that gives me resistance to fall damage?
You could look it up in the book. That's what I'm doing.
I will say, I don't think any of the others would make sense for having...
Well, I believe if I remember, Airhead makes it so I can jump really far, and it gives me resistance to fall damage.
Alright, here, I've got it looked up. Okay, so your racials are... Iron-willed, you gain 6 additional life points per level. Bigger, louder, better. add +1 to the reach of your melee attacks and +2 range to your ranged area attacks. Labyrinth Sense. A Minotaur is never lost, having an innate sense of which direction to head. When you are in a group traveling to a location you have read about or been to, you may travel at double speed without any chance of losing your way.
Okay, not bad.
So basically fast travel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
then
Airheaded,
down to merits.
I believe, is the one that gets me invulnerability from damage to falling, and Maravor, which I believe gives me the ability to use all sorts of weapons.
Let's see.
I'm gonna find merits real quick. I think I just.
Maravor. You gain proficiency with all weapon types. You can sleep in your armor without an endurance check. Airheaded.
Airheaded, you're stupid.
Take a running jump from a standing position. You are immune to falling damage and can slow your falling speed to that of a feather. You may use acrobatics or athletics to jump, whichever is higher.
Okay.
All right.
We're only saying merits and ratios, right?
Just the merits and racials. Yeah, just to kind of explain what they are. The powers, I think we can wait until those end up coming out.
Oh yeah,
So-
definitely.
So Rhino, you next.
Oh wait, should we go over our spirits?
Oh, real quick, yeah, I think so. Tim, you are the spirit of courage.
Yes, which I believe is better for fighter types, like my character.
All right,
That's
gone over. All right, Rhino.
Alright, I'm dragon. My racials are infinite greed. I begin as a small-sized baby dragon, and then at later levels I can grow to medium-sized adolescent, and then large-sized adult. Large being a relative term in this, considering I see what else in this guide they consider large. Shining, also medium, I think, is anywhere from pony to minotaur, so take that as you will.
I'm imagining like the teen dragons.
Yeah. Shining scales, you gain damage reduction equal to your level. In addition, you are immune to fire and heat, being capable of lounging comfortably in lava. Fire Belly, once per encounter as a minor action, you may breathe a gout of fame in a close blast 3.
We need to be able to understand you when you're saying it, please.
Sorry. Once per encounter as a minor action, you may breathe a gout of flame in a close blast 3. I don't know what that means, close blast 3. I assume that's maybe like the range or something.
Yeah, that's if we were playing with a board or something, which we're not.
Enemies in the blast take damage equal to your primary ability plus level. And then I have Claws and Flames. You are always considered armed. Treat your unarmed attacks as melee weapons of your level. And you may spit emerald fireballs that are treated as spellcraft weapons of your level.
All right. And your merits?
I am scrolling down. See, am I there yet? I had to wait for this to load.
Are we there yet?
There yet?
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
Oh, that's still in Destinies. What about here? Here we are. Okay, I have
Mystic Messenger?
Mystic Messenger, which is... here it is. Choose up to one consenting person. You can choose another person at later levels. You may change these people with special ritual. When a message you burn is addressed to that chosen person, it is automatically sent to its recipient as ash reforming at their location. They likewise may burn letters to you. There is no maximum distance.
Okay.
Alright, I then have Mage Sight. You don't need to roll Detect Magic. You always do so passively. In addition, you receive a +5 bonus to Analyze Magic. And what was my last one? Saw It Coming. Here it is. You may act during your enemy's surprise rounds. Whenever an unexpected action occurs outside of combat, you may roll a perception check to react just in time.
Okay.
So basically, I'm a
And-
squirrely little thing that has a lot to do with magic.
Yeah,
And your
basically.
spirit?
I
He's
am the spirit of embers.
Yep. All right. Jero, you are the spirit of light, of course.
Very funny.
The spirit of shadows, because we got Umbra, Nightingale, the Bat Pony, Ninja something, so obviously spirit of shadows.
Shut up. Okay. For
Yeah.
racials... What?
Shadow the Hedgehog is telling you to turn down the edge.
God damn it. See, I knew someone was going to comment about it and it was going to be you, Tim. God damn it. Okay, so for racials, I have, of course, Flying creature, which means I can use spirits, destinies, and merits that require flight. I have Strike of Midnight, which means I gain a +3 to critical strike range, default being 17 to 20. I get Night Coat, which is treat partial concealment and as full concealment for purpose of the stealth checks and AC, believe.
Yeah.
And disregard gravity. I am capable of standing and walking on any surface regardless of gravity, as we would natural ground. When contact is lost, the surface and when contact is lost with the surface, gravity takes over once more. So pretty much, I'm a Spider-Man as well.
Disregard gravity, acquire Spider-Man.
Yes.
Pretty much.
All right, and for your merits, you have viciousness and triple talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Viciousness is you gain combat advantage against creatures who are slowed, immobilized, weakened, vulnerable, or taking ongoing damage. If you have combat advantage, you gain a +2 bonus to your critical strike range. And then you have triple talk, which is whenever you make a diplomacy, bluff, or streetwise check, roll twice and keep the better roll.
Okay. And if you tie, you're fucked. Okay, so... All right, now that we've got all that out of the way, and we're 20 minutes in, let's start.
Yay.
Yay.
All right.
Yay.
So now to meet this Emperor conflagration guy.
And now the twist where
We're-
Yosh actually
we're
made him a huge dick.
we barely thought I already finished one can.
You drunk.
It isn't even beer. It's soda.
You drunk.
Soda Popinski.
And not even that big. It's tiny.
You drunk.
All right, so it begins with everybody. All three of you have been summoned to Emperor Conflagration's chambers. He invites you in and invites you to sit and have some tea as he speaks with you. Any reactions?
I sit on the table because the chairs are too big.
The Emperor does not bat an eye at this.
Yay.
I would sit down, but I'm twice the size of the table, so I'll skip.
I actually managed to sit down, but I'm actually somewhat. I managed to hide my surprise at there being not only a hatchling, but also a gigantic minotaur that could actually cause problems. So I look at him warily.
Oh yeah.
The Emperor seems disappointed that he got out 3 chairs and only one of them was used.
I would like to point out I'm more of a quadruped dragon, not a
Bipedal.
I'm usually not bipedal.
All right, so
Yeah. And being a Minotaur from a city that's mostly Minotaurs, my character does not have very many good interactions with other species.
Oh,
Yep.
joy.
the Emperor heads off to prepare some tea. He asks you to kind of meet and greet with each other as he prepares the tea.
Oh boy.
I look to the 2 guests of the castle since I live here.
I try to make conversation by trying to introduce myself and also asking why they're here before I say my own reasons.
Umbra Nightingale has introduced himself.
One moment, my dog is barking.
Alistair runs off to take care of the palace guard dog. Okay, does what's Thomscale's first name?
Archivir, no.
Oh my god, guys.
Just call him
Look, I offered you one or the other. You said whatever works. I chose both.
Just call him Ark for short.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so-
actually planning on calling
All
him
right,
that.
Jean Arc, do you have any reaction to Umbra?
Okay, I fixed that. What did I miss?
You didn't really miss anything.
Okay.
Except him laughing at my name again. Because the name is probably bigger than I am.
And the Emperor, when writing down your name, decided to measure you with it, and it was 4 times your height.
Wow.
I nod my head at the Bat Pony, saying my name and that I am the court dragon.
I introduced myself to the other members at the table, but they seem a bit wary of me and my shackles.
I decide to introduce the elephant in the room, to address the elephant in the room, and ask why the shackles.
Roll to see if you get punched in the face. No.
I watch.
I mainly just snort at him. I don't want to talk about it, and you'd be wise to not ask again.
Ooh.
He respects your decision and apologizes if he offended you.
Anything else? All right.
I mean, there's more to say about my character, but I don't know if it would actually ever come up at this point. It would actually come up in this particular scene, so that's why I'm not saying anything.
All right.
Well, I know. Well, before I do, I also explain to them since I already know why the dragon's here, and I don't want to.
He was hungry.
and I don't want to piss off the Minotaur more. I explain my reasons for being here.
All right. So you are now in the know. Umbra has revealed pretty much everything about him.
Okay.
I mentioned that I am here for a similar reason, and I would like to know why exactly I'm here.
I say I'm here because it's partially my job, and one of the main 3 things I do here at the castle, besides being poked by the wizards and eating part of the treasury.
So wait, hang on. So Alistair says why he's here, and then says, "I wonder why I'm here."
He knows he's there for something, but he doesn't know the specific reason.
Ah.
And I particularly know I'm asking for the same thing too, because I know that I'm here for diplomacy, but not showing what he wants to entail, what it wants to entail, or what it's going to entail.
At that moment, Conflagration returns. He has 4 cups of tea that he presents and allows you to take whichever ones you want, if any.
I take one.
Is there any variation in them?
You would have to taste them and find out.
I will take the one on the far left.
You take it. Thankfully, it is the one that where the cup is 3 times the size of the others, so you can fill it.
Yay.
I take one as well.
And the Emperor settles in with the last one. "Now that you have all assembled," he says, "it is time to go over what your mission shall be."